Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there, enjoying your day. Hopefully this show finds you in good spirits. Let's keep it real. Sorry about the delay, but was trying to get some things lined up and all that for this show. But I hope you guys are all doing well and of course enjoying your hump day, because it is hump day. And I know some of y'all like, yes, now we just got to get over this hill. And then it's down all the way down to the weekend, right? 2 more days until the weekend, right? But hopefully you guys are all well, okay? And we got a kind of a busy day, another busy day, because there's more information, more developing information on this particular case, this investigation that we have been talking about. And then, of course, we got another one. Some new developments in the Idaho 4 case as well, the Bryan Kohberger trial as well. And I'm telling you right now, man, we have definitely got to talk about it. So I will be on today at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, okay, to talk with Andrea Burkhart, to talk about this new developing information around the Bryan Kohberger case. So as you can see, I mean, obviously we're going to be doing this show. I'll be off for like maybe a half hour, and then we're back on again with Andrea Burkhart, you know, our our wonderful, friendly, neighborly lawyer, okay, who's going to be coming in and explaining the new developments that have popped off around the Bryan Kohberger case. So be sure to tune in at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, to hear what the hell is going on, okay? I know a lot of people were expecting this to happen. Me, I'm still surprised. Doesn't matter if this is was expected or not. It is still a very surprising piece of information, and we are going to do a deep dive into it as well and talk about it, so that all of us laymen's, okay, all of us regular pedestrians can fully understand what the hell's going on. Okay, so let's get into this thing. Do me a favor, some housekeeping really quick. Do me a favor, hit that like button down below. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, send it past 300 likes as you guys start to file in, because we got some information here that's absolutely insane, okay, and more. Okay, this is not just the only thing you guys are coming in to hear me talk about for like an hour. There's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of information here that is just absolutely appalling. So be sure to hit that like button, send it past 300 likes really quick. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, y'all. You know your boy's working hard out here in these streets. Come on, hit that subscribe button. And of course, do not forget, please hit that notification bell, set it to all so that you know whenever I upload or whenever I go live. And of course, if you want to support the channel, please hit that join button down below. These purple lights don't pay themselves. And of course, your super chats, cash apps are always incredibly welcome, okay? Appreciated and welcomed, okay? So anyway, let's get into some things, guys. We got some things to talk about, all right? Whoo, boy, this is bad, okay? Like Carolera just said, okay? This information is a travesty. It is absolutely right. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the whole thing yet. We just got started, and we already know this is bad. This is very, very bad. Okay. Now, Sylvia Walls, thank you so much for the $2 super chat or super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. But as we proceed, okay, to give you what you need. No, I'm kidding. as we proceed into this story, as we go more further, deeper into this story, we are finding more and more shocking pieces of information. Okay. More things where I'm sitting here going, what the hell? There were so many things, at least things that were thrown in front of certain people that if they knew or even gave a damn, they could have done something about it. They could have stopped things from happening. Okay. They could have prevented this massive tragedy from happening. Okay. There's something really bad going on out there in Henrietta, Oklahoma. I mean, we basically already agree on that. Okay. We do agree as a fam that something rotten is going on in Henrietta for sure. But now we're starting to hear more information. Now we're starting to get more details. As I said, more shocking details about things that could have been prevented if somebody actually got up off their butts and did something about it. Now, let me explain what I mean. Okay. There's a couple different things. And we do have a bunch of videos we are going to be looking at here, a bunch of clips for a bunch of news clips. Okay. And, you know, Banfield and Brian Enton have been doing an amazing job in the coverage of this story. And they're unearthing so much information that's actually shocking. And the thing is there were certain things that were sent to me that I kind of paused on because I didn't know how legit those things were. You know how it is when you're just a man, you're just one person. Okay. I'm just a man. But when you're just one person doing all this research or receiving the documents and you don't have like that team to sit there and cross-reference, make sure everything's all right. You know what I mean? Everything's all legit. It's hard to fully embrace everything and go, yeah, that's 110%. Because let me be real with you guys. Yes, we've talked about a lot of things that are speculations, a lot of theories, a lot of things. I've addressed things that were in the rumor mill and all that on multiple cases. But one thing I don't want to do is put out documents that I don't know if they're legit or not, right? But what's funny is that the stuff that I did receive was actually legit. I just sat on it because I was like, I'm going to wait for the other information, for the powers that be, for the people who have millions and millions of dollars behind them, and they have the team in which they can go and find out if this stuff is legit, actually address these things as if they are legit. But the funny thing is I had the stuff the day before, but I sat on it because I just didn't know. Even the person who sent me this stuff just didn't fully know if it was legit or not. Okay. So we got some things, we got some paperwork, just one clip, one little thing of paperwork that we are going to be talking about here. But there's a lot, like I said, that's coming out that we're now starting to learn. Now, let's talk about this rental property. Before we go into the title, okay, that you see down below or up above, okay? Before we go into all that, let's just talk about the property. Remember I was telling you guys, hey, who would rent to this dude? And I think a lot of us were asking that question. Who would go out here and rent to a known registered such and such, right? Who would do that? Well, now, and of course, there were conversations. People were saying it through the grapevine. A lot of speculations, but now we are finally getting the truth. The person who actually owned this property, from my understanding, is a relative of Jesse McFadden, of this monster. Okay. And again, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about, if you don't know the story, there were 7 bodies that were found in the backyard of a property. All of them were tragically taken by a GSW, gunshot wound. And the person who did it was also among the 7. He was a violent, he had a past, has been incarcerated for multiple years for a violent offense. During that time, he was in prison. He was also doing very violent offenses in prison. Then on top of that, He was also obtaining underage material that no person should have on their person. And given the fact that he was in prison for that exact same thing, it's pretty wild to me that even 17 years later, he gets spat back out into freedom, gets married, and this woman by the name of Holly Guess had 3 children. They rented a house with a big old backyard. And then, of course, we flash forward to now where they were found, all the whole family, including himself and 2 friends that were there spending the night, all of them taken, all of their lives taken by this monster. Now, I know I'm just abbreviating heavily, because if you haven't seen it, please go check out my playlist that I'm still piecing together. But before the end of the day, all the videos about McFadden and this slumber party tragedy will all be under one full playlist. So please go and check those things out, okay? Because we're not going to go through all that all over again. And I'm assuming you guys who are here already savvy to what's going on. But the person that rented this, that was the landlord of this place, is a person that clearly already knew that this guy had a very, very violent background, very bad police record, arrest record, and all that. Because he also is a criminal himself. He is also someone who has a police record himself. His name is Raymond Pageant. Allegedly, from what I'm hearing, he's related. This is like his cousin. This is Jesse McFadden's cousin, if I have this correctly. He has a record of domestic A, if you get what I'm saying. And he also has 2 assault and battery charges on his own record. Also a violent individual. And what's very interesting is that he wasn't supposed to rent that house. He's not even allowed to legally rent that house because of a receivership. He was in a messy divorce with his wife. And that is something that he is not supposed to be. That property was not something he was supposed to be renting at that time. Imagine that. Welcome to the world that we live in. But this man, Raymond Pageant, clearly knew that this monster was moving into that place, by the way, illegally, okay? Illegally, and let him stay in that place. Another piece that I want to show you guys. Well, one, we do have something. We do have one thing. Let me just share this with you guys. Well, one, we do have the marriage license. Okay. And of course, on there is the Melissa Smalley name. Remember, we talked about Melissa Smalley. Okay. Melissa Smalley is the one that is the secretary for the sheriff's department. She also is the one who writes in and registers all the such and suches of that area. Okay. Puts them on that registered such and such list. Okay. She was an attendant to this marriage. Now, remember, again, just so you guys know, because we will be looking at a video here in a little bit where Brian Enton is trying to talk to the actual prison chaplain. The prison chaplain was actually the one who married Jesse and Holly. And of course, we are trying to figure out why. Why did that happen? Why was that even allowed? Who authorized this? Now, I mean, I get it. They authorized it. You know, we see it in the paperwork. But why? Why was this actually happening? How did this actually happen? Pretty mind-blowing stuff, guys. Okay? So, and actually, let me see what I can do here. I'll do you guys better. Do you guys better. Hold on. Where the heck did it go? Where did it go? Sorry, guys. Just trying to screenshot this so I can blow this up a little bit better. There we go. Okay, good. Just making sure this isn't, there's no echo going on as well. Sorry, guys. Just wanted to blow this up a little bit so you guys can see this as a family. All right. So let's see this. So there's the marriage license. All right. And as you can see, some of the names. Obviously, you have Jesse McFadden there. You have, the male's name known, to be known as signature. His signature's there. Holly's signature is there as well. Okay. Then you have, of course, Melissa Smalley, which we've already gone into great lengths about. Okay. All right. So, pretty crazy stuff, guys. And of course, the chaplain, Kenneth. I don't know what that is. Fa la 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 la. Okay. I don't know how to read that. I can't read that. Okay. But as you can see, all right, not great stuff. Okay. Not good. Not good stuff. And of course, to me, I got questiones. Okay. I got many, many questiones about that. All right. So let's continue on. And I want to make sure this is blown up as well so that we have it. But there's more to this, guys. All right. There's a lot more to this, which makes, again, no earthly sense. We got to talk about the actual divorce. Okay. There was a divorce that went down, and we have the paperwork for that as well. There was a divorce that went down between Holly Guess and Joseph Guess. But there's one piece of information here that doesn't make any sense. Now, they got divorced, okay? They got divorced in 2021. But what's interesting about that is that Holly, at that time, during the time of this divorce, she was already starting to be with Jesse. Hence the reason why there was a divorce. Now, one thing I do want to say is that Joseph and Holly, and I'll show you guys this in a second, but Joseph and Holly were married for 13 years, 13 long years. And during that time, she was also sliding in the pen pal mail letters to prison inmates and was also corresponding with Jesse and also his inmate, his cellmate as well. You remember all that? Okay. Now, as soon as he got out, free as a bird, okay? Nelly Furtado, all right? He got out and everything was cool, right? They started dating. I'm assuming probably a little bit after he got out. But one thing that's very, very strange about this is that in this paperwork, let me just say this too, both Joseph, her soon-to-be ex-husband, and Holly Guess both said something that's very, very weird. They filed paperwork that is not true. Let's take a look. Right here at number 6. Now, let's look at number 5. Let me blow this up a little bit more so you guys can all see it in the nosebleed seats, okay? Because I love y'all, all right? I love you. But look at this. Number 5, it doesn't matter, but that during the marriage, the defendant, Holly Guess, right? 6. Most important part of it all. Number 6. Number 6, y'all. Read that. That there are no minor children of the marriage and none are expected. Last I checked, y'all. Okay? Let's keep it reals. All right? Last I checked up in this mug, these 3 children, you got Tiffany Guess. From my understanding, she was 13 years old. The youngest of the entire family. When they were filing these divorce papers, you're telling me that Tiffany Guess, in fact, let me make sure. Let's make sure. So you got Riley. You got Riley, who's 17. Okay. You got Michael, who is 15. And yes, you got Tiffany, that is 13 years old. So you're telling me that 2 years ago, none of them kids, none of them were minors? Say what? So why would they go and file paperwork that says that? Riddle me this, Batman. Why would they do that? And it was both of them, not just one, both of them. Why would they do that? During the time of this divorce, which was 2 years ago, technically they would all be minors, wouldn't they? When they say that there are no minor children of the marriage and none are expected, I get the part of none are expected. Like, you know, she wasn't pregnant. They weren't expecting to have a child or anything. There was no baby on the way, bun in the oven. You feel me? But the first part of that sentence does not make any sense, y'all. So make that make sense. And it was both of them that said this. Both of them. Now, Lazarus just said they did it to make the divorce go through quicker. Okay, okay, I can see that, but that's a bit strange, though. I do find that a bit strange. Okay. Now, Raven McCall said they didn't want to go through parenting classes in order to get the divorce, Pascal. Now that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. But you realize that you are relying on documents, on legal documents that they're using for the divorce. They're filing falsified documents. That part is not true, guys. All those kids were minors. Now, it could be like, hey, we don't want to do anything. We want to expedite this quickly. We want to wrap it up. I'm sure Joseph as well, if she was out there having extramarital affairs. I'm just saying, I don't know what sparked the divorce or sparked the marriage to go off the rails. But at the same time, I can see him going, yo, I don't want nothing to do with this. Get me, set me free. Fine. I'll sign this. I just don't want anything to do with this woman or anything to do with the situation that she's in. Maybe that's what it is too. Okay. And of course, I'm not trying to sit here and blame anybody or anything like that, but I'm just saying that piece of information is a bit odd. And even Ashley Banfield does bring it up and say that is a bit odd. That is strange, and it doesn't make any bloody sense. Why, if you know, like, and God knows, let me be real too. And I guess this is the other question I have to ask, that we'd have to ask Joseph Guess, if he was out here talking about everything. The question I have is, did he at all know? And actually, I'm sorry, Joseph Guess did talk. He did speak out. My bad. I forgot. He did speak out in an interview, right? And he was talking on behalf of Tiffany, Michael, and Riley, basically saying that they all were referred to him as dad. And of course, they were sitting there saying how much that they wanted to be with him. And he was in the middle of paperwork to adopt them all, to take full custody of those children and all that. But it does make you wonder why that piece of information, why number 6 even exists in the thing. Again, it's just a question, not any accusations of any sort, but that is not true. That part of the paperwork is not true. Okay. And does spark up a lot of questions. Real quick, Estelle, thank you so much for the 140 czars. I appreciate it. Thank you for your passion. Oh, I appreciate it, sweetheart. Thank you so much, Estelle. And Crystal Dana, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. I really do appreciate the support, guys. Okay. So that part doesn't see. And so when I look at that, I keep wondering, what keeps burning inside of me is the question of, did Joseph possibly know what kind of person this guy was before the marriage or before the divorce? Because you got to remember, soon after, let me pull that up one more time. Soon after, there was marriage. Let's get that right here. This should say the date on this mother lover, shouldn't it? Where's the date? Yeah. So a year ago, May 26th, or May 25th. I don't know. It's very sloppy. Okay. But in the 20s, from my understanding, it was like May 25th, 2022. So it wasn't super quick afterwards, but it does make you wonder, what's up? What happened? Why didn't anybody know? Okay. So yeah. And Danielle, I agree with that. It's a very small town, so of course they all know. I agree too. Okay. And Brenna, yes, we will be talking about that today at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time with our good friend Andrea Burkhart, our good lawyer friend Andrea Burkhart. So tune in today at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be explaining all of that. Okay. But back into the story. This piece just doesn't make any sense to me, guys. Okay. The divorce papers and everything like that. Sure. They fell in love. They got together. They did their thing. The chaplain, the prison chaplain, was the one who was the officiant. You have other people that were there as witness to the wedding, to the marriage, that were part of the sheriff's department, which still doesn't make any sense. Okay. And of course, you also find that the person that was supposed to be checking in on Jesse McFadden every 90 days was also the son of the sheriff's department's secretary, who also is the one who registers all of the SOs in that area. And the fact that person who's checking in on Jesse only checked in on him once out of the entire time that he was set free out of prison, and he didn't even go inside the house. He just checked the box saying, yep, he's there, and he kept it moving. It's very, very strange, guys. So now let's get into the piece about LaDonna McFadden. Now, this piece is very disturbing, and I'm going to be showing you guys some videos and all that here too. But let's talk about it. We all have had many, many questions about it. In fact, we had Jennifer Coffindaffer on the show, and she kind of broke some information on the show that I don't know whether it is 110% correct or 110% false. Okay. But it was information that was still shocking, that there were stories of LaDonna That's her name. LaDonna McFadden, who is the mother of Jesse McFadden and Cody McFadden. Let's not forget him too, the brother, who's also extremely violent. Apparently, she was working at the courthouse. Don't know what she was doing, what job she was doing at the courthouse, but it is still very strange and shocking to know that she apparently has some connection to the higher ups and the things that make decisions on what criminals can and cannot do. Okay. Now there's another piece here. We heard that Jesse's mother didn't know anything and that she was shocked about all this information, right? But then now we hear that she started to finally speak out to police. And the information that's been said is very shocking. So now Jesse's mother's saying that the night before this tragedy, Jesse McFadden called his mother and was saying things like he was going to do something to himself, if you get what I'm saying. He had a full conversation with his mama about doing something heinous, doing something unthinkable to himself. And she did nothing about it. The very next day, guess what? We already know what happened. But hey, we got some videos to look at. We got some information to look at here. I wanted to play this video for you guys from Banfield, because again, they've been doing a really great job in covering this whole story. This is all very, very shocking. But she knew something bad was going to go down, and she did nothing about it, guys. Nothing. Let's take a look. Hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this. Let's rock and roll.
Let's start with Jesse McFadden's mom. Ready for this? Sheriff's investigator told a judge, this was in a request for a search warrant, that Jesse McFadden called his mommy on the evening of April 30th and talked to LaDonna McFadden, that's mommy, about killing himself. LaDonna McFadden told a reporter, like a couple days later, after the massacre, the mass suicide that he committed, and then the mass murder suicide, she said to the reporter, "My heart is breaking for the victims. I don't understand it. I never, ever would have expected anything like this." And yet she told a sheriff's investigator that that monster called her on the evening of April 30th, talked about killing himself. So that's pretty new.
Okay. Don't worry, we're going to continue going, but I got to do this stuff for fair use and all that. But listen, can you believe that? Can you really believe that? She knew. He called. Maybe frantic. Clearly, if you're gonna call and say you're gonna do something like that, you're obviously frantic, y'all. You're obviously frantic. Okay, you're obviously in a mental state that would say that you about to do something insane. You're about to do something absolutely appalling, unthinkable, right? He calls his own mama and says, "Mama, I'm about to do this. I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do. I ain't going back. I ain't going back. I ain't going back." And what happened? She did nothing. She said nothing. And then even after the fact, after all this stuff went down, she still said nothing. She still did nothing until days later. And then she finally said something. If she spoke up, these kids would still be alive. If she put up some work, did something, these kids would still be alive. And I'm not sitting here saying that it's only just on her. The whole system was screwed up. But she was the last one of the last people he contacted. And I'm assuming his mama was trying to speak him down from that ledge, but it still didn't work. Why didn't she call the cops? Why didn't she call 911? What's up with this? What's going on here? That doesn't make any sense, guys. That does not make any sense. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, now you remember? Oh, yeah, I remember when my son called me and he said he was going to do such and such. So I just hung up the phone. Like, make that make sense. You didn't try to talk him down? You didn't pull up to the house, make a wellness check to say, hey, how you doing, son? You okay? You're my baby and I love you. Come here. Come into mama's arms. Let me hug you really quick. Let me sing you a little lullaby betwixt my bosom. Whatever it is. But none of that happened.
Pretty shocking. Also, some other exclusive information tonight. That Oklahoma farmhouse that was being rented to Jesse McFadden by a landlord named Raymond Paget. Raymond had no legal authorization to rent that house because he was in an ugly divorce with his estranged wife, and that thing was in receivership, which meant he wasn't supposed to rent or collect rent of any property, let alone this one. So this was an illegal rental. Did he know that he was renting illegally to a guy who's a sex offender with teenage kids that were going to live in the house?
Let me say this too. And of course, we're going to be going through all the stuff I just talked to you guys about, obviously. Okay. But this receivership, basically everything, all of his assets, because of this divorce, are frozen, basically. His assets are frozen. He can't sit there and do anything because he's in the middle of a nasty divorce. But he still rented this out to a person that I believe he knowingly knew of his past. Why would he let this dude be basically a squatter on his own property? And then on top of that, and I'm going to ask this. I want to ask this because it's a very, very big question I got here too. Now, it could be a thing where they had an agreement. He got hooked up. He got the hookup with the space and all that, which cool. I've heard stories like that many, many times. But he probably was like, hey, you fix up the area. You fix up my land a little bit. And I got you, bro. I'll cut you a deal with the rent. You get this big old space with a really nice backyard, huge backyard and all that stuff. Cool. Bet, homie. I appreciate it. Dap it up. Send that cash app. Whatever it might be, right? But the part that still doesn't make any sense to me is this is a landlord's property. Now, they did not say in the video whether there was any relation to Raymond and Jesse or not. I heard through the grapevine that there was some sort of relation between the two, but I don't know. I don't know what is true and what's not on that part. If they're blood related or not, doesn't matter. They may have met while they were incarcerated. They may have met while in a holding cell. You never know, okay? But the one part that I have to ask is that pond. Hear me out. Now, the pond was made 2 months before this massacre occurred. The pond was created 2 months before this massacre went down. Did he call up his landlord who's hooking him up with the space and say, hey, I'm about to dig a big ass hole in your backyard and fill it up with water. You cool with that? Would the landlord be like, yeah, bet, man, do your thing. Go get that bulldozer and do whatever you need to do. Make it make sense, guys. And you know what? Soybean just asked a good question there too. Hell yeah. Look at that. Did they have a permit to build that pond? That's a very good question too. And I don't know. Okay. And I don't know. But I'm assuming that there would be a permit needed for them to go and successfully create a hole in the ground and fill it with water. At least I would assume. But that piece doesn't make any sense to me at all either. Make it make sense. Okay? Danielle, no, it was not there from what we have heard and from what we have gathered throughout all these interviews and throughout all the investigation that has come out. No, that pond did not exist until 2 months before the massacre occurred. Just so you guys know, just to make that abundantly clear. So this guy was basically glorifiably squatting in this crib with an understanding of paying rent, I'm sure, maybe under the table, because he can't write any paperwork on that. He can't have, okay, here's the lease and all that stuff. If the landlord was going through a dirty divorce situation, okay, and there was a receivership, which basically is freezing all of his stuff, not allowing him to make money off of any of his stuff, because I'm sure this divorce, they were probably in a situation of who gets what. Or him going, no, she ain't getting half. Hell no, she ain't getting half, not off of all my hard work. You never know. But apparently it's a nasty divorce. So they froze everything. And yet he still let this guy live in that house. And I'm sure was paying him under the table. No background check needed. No paper trail either. And he's just getting cold hard cash every month. Pretty crazy. Let's continue.
Is there a reason why he callously demanded, get your stuff and get out of here, to those victims' family members who came to figure out what happened? Paget has quite a criminal past himself, it turns out. Assault and battery with a dangerous weapon.
Yep.
Domestic abuse, all in April of 2012. And then,
by the way, very busy month for Raymond there. Okay. Very busy month for Raymond with the A with a deadly weapon and the DA, or the domestic A charge. Same month. Very busy month for him that month. Damn. Crazy.
in January of 2006, another assault and battery. All right, there's that. Then there's Holly. What did Holly know before?
Now let me before we go into what does Holly know, okay? Let me just scroll that back just a little bit. Okay. We got to talk about that. Maybe the reason why he's going through a nasty divorce is because of the DV, the arrests that he's had. They're domestic. He has 2 assault and battery charges with a deadly weapon. One of them is with a deadly weapon. I wouldn't be surprised if his wife that he's going through a nasty divorce with is sitting there going, give me half. In fact, give me 90% of it all. Freeze all of his assets. Freeze it all. I don't care. Let this mother lover suffer. Now, I could see him going and saying, hey, yeah, man, come on, Jesse. And God only knows how long this divorce has been going on for, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's sitting there going, yeah, come on in. I need the money anyway. All under the table, so nobody needs to know. Right? Pretty crazy stuff, though, guys. And also, she did say in the very beginning that the landlord did show up and was trying to shoo out the victims' families while they were going through the house, combing through the house and doing all this stuff, finding out all this horrific information. This landlord has the audacity to go in there and go, hey, shoo everybody, get off my property. Whilst they are going through that house of horrors and finding out the truth. Was he involved? I'm just saying, these are the questions that needs to be asked and hopefully answered. Is he involved? What kind of deal did he really have with Jesse McFadden? You tell me landlord didn't ever come back to check out his property to see what was up? Or was he in on the disgusting, unthinkable things that were happening behind those closed doors? Again, these are questions that need to be asked. Why would he give a damn if the victims' families are going through that house and finding out information that needs to be found out? Again, I'm just asking for a friend. Why would you be tripping, bro? In fact, you should be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this even happened in my crib. Please take all the time you need. Take all the time you need. Had I known this was going to happen, I would never have done any of this or let any of this guy be in any of the part of my home. You telling me family events, this guy didn't show up? Like, hey, landlord, because clearly they cool. Landlord didn't come up and say, hey, hey, come on out. Like, we're doing a cookout in the backyard. Or, sorry, some of y'all say barbecue. We barbecuing in the backyard. Okay. You tell me he didn't go out there and check on his property from time to time to make sure the thing ain't up in flames? Again, make that make sense. That's number two. We talked about MOMMA and her lack of comeuppance, okay? Her lack of lighting a fire under her own ass to maybe stop her son from doing these things, maybe talk her son down from doing unthinkable things. And now you got this too. Number two, the landlord who sat there and just let it be what it was. Never checking on his own property? You're telling me that place never had any issues? A broken window or a broken door or anything of that sort? You're telling me they didn't do that? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Now, Sarah AP, I understand that piece. Not all landlords do that. They don't. But you're telling me, like, it just doesn't make sense. Okay? It's just not mathing for me, guys. It's just not. And I really wish it was. Actually, I really wish it wasn't. I'd rather this than the other. Because it just starts, nah. Because this is unearthing something sinister. I'm telling you right now, this is unearthing something sinister. Jody Girl, thank you so much for the 5. Pascal, this is a very small town. The amount of SOs registered there is crazy. Something fishy for sure. Check out the SO registry. Yes, I did check it out before, and it is shocking. Again, thank you so much for the 5, but it is shocking, okay, how small that town is and how many of them are in that area. It is crazy to me. Like, what is that, the Mecca? Is Henrietta the Mecca for registered such and suches? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. But let me continue, guys. My bad. Let's continue.
What did Holly know before? And what could she have done to change what happened to her and her family and those 2 visiting kids? What? Well, it turns out that she did a few deceptive things in her past. When she was getting a divorce from her previous husband, Joe Guess, they filed documents that said there are no minor children of the marriage and none are expected. Problem with that is that the divorce notice was December 2021, and they'd been married for 13 years. And Holly had a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 17-year-old. So there's a real good chance that little Tiffany at 13 was theirs. And there is a chance as well that Michael at 15 was theirs as well.
Yep.
Why would they lie? She'd already moved in with the sex offender. Was this a possible reason to lie? You don't say anything about us having kids, and maybe you can get out of child support. I don't know. Maybe. But they lied, both of them, on that divorce. Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNation.
Now, that's one thing that I forgot to bring up. Maybe it's a child support thing. Maybe he didn't want to pay, maybe he didn't want to pay for that. That is a good, strong possibility as well. The other part that you guys said, because you guys are so smart, you guys said, hey, maybe they just didn't want to go through the counseling part of like, you sure you want to get divorced? You sure? Like, go through all the trust exercises and all that BS. They were like, no, we need to skip all that BS. We need to expedite this because I need to be out. Like, I don't want to be married to you and you don't want to be married to me. So let's just cut the BS and let's just kick rocks from this and go our separate ways. That could very well be it too, right? Or it could be child support too. Let's keep it real. That could very well be it as well. It's crazy, guys. Okay. But we got more. Like I said before, there has been a lot of basically the entire town is basically saying no comment. They're not talking. Law enforcement ain't trying to say nothing. The prison chaplain ain't trying to say nothing. No one's saying nothing, and it's absolutely insane to me. Let's take a look at this. All right.
Option is just starting to make me sick. Right. Yesterday, Brian, it was the prison chapel was used for this guy's marriage. The chaplain of the prison conducted the marriage, and the sheriff's assistant was the witness to a sex offender's marriage to a woman with 3 kids. And you tried to get a hold of this chaplain. What happened?
We did. We wanted to talk to the chaplain. I had called him yesterday and left him a voicemail, didn't get a response. You mentioned it. I mean, no one wants to talk when it comes to this case. No one. But I thought maybe since it's a chaplain, he would open up to us, share something, let us know why he performed the wedding ceremony, what he knew about Jesse McFadden and Holly. Take a look. We went to his house. He actually lives about an hour from here in Tulsa, and went to the door. They were watering the lawn there. There was clearly someone home. Knocked on the door, trying to talk to chaplain Kenneth Farnham, but no one came to the door, Ashley. And I also did get a text from him that just said, no comment, period. And that was it. So apparently we are not going to be hearing from the chaplain.
Now, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Do you really think that this chaplain's going to go up there and keep it real and confess and just say, okay, what happened what had happened was, nah, he ain't going to do that. Come on. He ain't going to do that. He going to chill. He ain't going to say nothing. Okay. I'm not surprised by this reaction because let's be real. None of them have been coming out and saying anything and being transparent. Law enforcement has not said anything. Also, one other thing that we did talk about on the other show before, on a previous show before, is that there still has not been any press conference over this tragedy. There's been a tiny one like outside the house on property when it initially happened. They just said, yeah, there's 7 bodies in the back of the house. We are still doing is still an ongoing investigation and blah, blah, blah. And then they left. There was no press conference at all whatsoever. Why? What is up with this, guys? This is weird. And I keep thinking maybe there's, again, I'm thinking the worst. That house was a spot. It was a hangout spot for all these. That's where my mind goes. My mind instantly goes to the place of, this is a place where all the bad guys go to do their thing, to do the unthinkables, to do disgusting, unthinkable acts. That's what I think. It is a ring. Full-on ring of disgusting individuals, and a lot of them are caught, and a lot of them are hiding in plain sight that have not been caught. That's what I believe. And some of them may be serving you dinner, may be pulling you over in that town, all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry for saying it like that, but the way that they are being so vague, so secretive, the lack of transparency of this situation is mind-blowing to me, guys. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Speaking of, and real quick, side note, speaking of lack of transparency, I do have a new video that I put out late last night about Shanquella Robinson. If you have been following that case and care about that case, there has been some new developments that have been very shocking. Please, when this show is over, take that just 11 minutes and just take a watch of that video That would really, really mean a lot. It was a pop-up video I did late last night. Please go check it out. It is some new information about Shanquella Robinson. Please and thank you. Okay, so let's continue with this video.
Well, maybe not this way, but he better answer someone as to why he legally married a sex offender to a woman with 3 teenagers and didn't sort of red flag that and let it happen at the prison chapel. And then there's that witness, the sheriff's administrative assistant, who also is in charge of registering sex offenders. That's what she's supposed to be doing for a living. That's what her LinkedIn says. So her son is a sheriff's deputy. He made the only on-site compliance check for Jesse McFadden. What did the sheriff's department say about all this when you went a knocking?
Well, first of all, we've been trying to talk to the sheriff's department for quite some time. I have been, your team has been. Yesterday, we were trying to get to the bottom of what was going on with the sheriff's assistant who, you know, is in charge of the sex offenders. And also her signature is also on the marriage license. Really just, I mean, is there something we're missing here? Just wanting to understand it. So I went to the sheriff's office today. We've called and called and called and called. This was sort of a last result. And this is what happened.
No. Your name is what?
I can give you a card if you want.
That'd be great.
Is it? Oh, it's open under here.
Yeah, it's open.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been.
Seat out there?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we basically sat out in the waiting room and waited. A man came out and wasn't happy that the camera was there, said that they weren't going to be commenting. I had given them my business card, and he essentially just gave the business card back to me.
So he just politely said, "Nah, you can go F yourself. Thank you so much. You can, you know, we want to save trees, so take your business card back. Thank you so much." That's crazy.
Wow. Didn't even accept your business card.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, didn't. I mean, I still got the card. Didn't take the card.
Well, that's something. Okay. Again, I don't always expect that law enforcement is going to, you know, work with us when there's a horrible, disgusting, foul crime. But when they have been screwing up, I think they have some answers that we deserve as citizens, and that community deserves answers as to why all that evidence was left behind after the sheriff's department just cleared out. Nothing to see here. And by the way, if you want it, go ahead, take it home, was what one of the victim's family members was told. Just despicable. Okay, one last question. Raymond Padgett, the landlord, all this new information that he wasn't legally allowed to rent that property, that he was so callous to these family members, get your things and get out of here, right? These are family members who lost their children to a rape and murder of a sex offender in a mass murder suicide. It just defies logic that anyone would treat anybody else like that. But you had actually asked that question of Ivy Webster's father and grandmother, Ivy Webster being one of the sleepover girls who was murdered. And they had something to say about that, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. This is something that they have been questioning and concerned about since the very beginning. Something to them did not make sense with this landlord situation. How Jesse McFadden ended up here, he was able to rent the place. So when the paperwork emerged showing that the farm behind me, that the house behind me was in a receivership and that it was not allowed to be legally rented, they sort of could believe it because something didn't feel right, but at the same time, they couldn't believe it. They have questions. How was he here? Why was he here? Who was he paying? If there was no lease, how did all of this happen? This is what they told me. Well, it just seems like it may have been like sort of a backdoor deal rental.
Well,
Yeah.
That's clearly what it is if he's not supposed to be renting out that property.
I wonder if there's even a lease or anything.
From my understanding is there wasn't.
They were
backdoor deal.
caretakers.
And they were caretakers of the property. And what I'm confused about is if he's not supposed to be renting out those properties, where is the connection that brought Jesse to that house? If he can't list it as a rental, how did Jesse get in contact with the property owner to be able to know he could lease that house from the property owner?
Thank you for watching. Go to
Crazy questions. I'm going to roll that back one more again. And somebody said Brian Enton is bold. Yeah, man, he definitely is bold. But that's his job. His job is to get down to the bottom of it, right? Real quick, I want to say, sir, thank you so much for the both of the $1 super stickers. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the support. All right. But I want to roll that back just a little bit. I want to hear the father say that piece one more again. Let's roll that back.
From my understanding is there wasn't.
There was they were
backdoor deal.
caretakers.
And they were caretakers of the property. And what I'm confused about,
Caretakers of the property. Remember what I just said earlier? The theory of, okay, maybe they're there, but they are upkeeping the area. Like while they're staying there, they're supposed to maintain the space, maybe add more to the place. Make sure that everything, all nuts and bolts, just stays screwed in properly and all that. But as we saw, as we have seen inside that home, the only improvements it looks like they did were sinister improvements. And I wouldn't even say improvements, just additions. Screwing chains into walls on countertops and whatnot. That's what they did. So now, and of course, this is just from the father saying this. Is just from Ivy Webster's father saying this. This is just a theory. But from what he's hearing through the grapevine is that they were there to caretake of the place, the house, and the property itself, the land. I mean, that's definitely a loophole that I can see that landlord jumping through so that he can have, one, the place taken care of, and also he can still make some of them bags. But let's continue. That's very interesting.
is if he's not supposed to be renting out those properties, where is the connection that brought Jesse to that house? If he can't list it as a rental, how did Jesse get in contact with the property owner to be able to know he could lease that house from the property owner?
That's exactly what I'd like to know too. Where's the connection? How did we get Jesse, Holly, and the family to be connected to this Raymond pageant guy for them to be able to be caretakers of that property? Again, that's a piece that still doesn't make any sense. Okay? That still is not mathing for me as well. Pretty crazy and wild stuff, guys. All right? Pretty crazy and wild stuff. Now, I got one last video I wanted to share with you guys. And it's, of course, with another lawyer talking about this as well, about this case. And also, actually, before we go into that, there is something that I just retweeted while we were doing this live that I am, yeah. Sorry. I am still very shocked about. So I wanted to share with this with you guys, and it's breaking as of like the last, just like a little bit ago. Okay. But this is from Kaylee Olivas. Okay. And it says, back on the road, we're heading to Henrietta this morning. We found some inaccurate information in newly filed court records written by law enforcement. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second. You heard that? Let me repeat that again. Of course, they're going back in Henrietta. They found some inaccurate information in newly filed court records written by law enforcement. Boom shakalaka. Yeah, gamer lover. She's like, wait, what? She said, wait, what? What? Yeah, gamer lover. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay? We found some inaccurate information in newly filed court records written not by Jesse or Holly, even Joseph Guess. We're not even talking about them. We talk about law enforcement, them Leos. Okay? Didn't I say just a few days ago, didn't I say last week that this thing's going to get thicker than a snicker? Well, looks like it is. It just keeps getting thicker. And let me say, I hope it's something good. I hope it's meaty. I hope it's meaty as fuck. You understand? Like, pho, get it? Meaty pho? No? Okay. But still, regardless, back to the story here. Man, do I hope. Man, do I hope. Please make it so. All right? Make it just meaty. All right? And pho sounds fire right now. I'm not going to lie. Pho sounds really good. I'm getting hungry, kind of. But anyway, let's get into this, guys. Let's keep it real. Y'all stupid. Y'all stupid. Pho sounds so good right now. But anyway, I'm about to smash some food before this show with Andrea Burkhart. Trust and believe. But let me tell you something, guys. All right, let's talk about this. If there is some documents that have been falsified or that are incorrect, it depends on how incorrect it is. You know, because if it's like a punctuation situation or something like that, you know how it is. They didn't put a period where a period was supposed to be, something like that, then it may. But if it really is what they say that they're coming off with that information, with that new piece of details that just dropped just about 40 minutes ago or so. All right. Yo. That could unearth some serious-ish. I am here for it. I am here for it. I am here for it. I'm telling you right now, there's something bigger. This is more than meets the eye, and I ain't talking about Transformers. All right? Let's get into this, though. I'm waiting for that article, and I'm waiting for that clip to come out. And when it does come out, we gonna look at it, and we gonna talk about it. Trust and believe. Also, I want to say a big shout out to Legacy. I Am Legacy. She has been doing an amazing job on the coverage of this on Twitter. She has helped me quite a lot on this case alone. So I wanted to say that really quick. I will give her a shout out near the end of the show to make sure you guys go follow her on Twitter, because this woman's been doing an amazing job and just helping me with things that just fly under the radar that I miss. She'll be like, yo, you missed this. And I'm like, what? So I just wanted to let you guys know that too. So let's continue here. This is an interview with an attorney about everything that's going on in Henrietta, about this tragedy. So let's take a look at this. Oh, also, please, guys, do me the favor. Okay, hit that like button down below, crush it, crush it, crush it. And also, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button, baby. All right, that'd be greatly appreciated. We got a lot of stories going on, and I'm doing as much as I can to cover all of them the best I can. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that join button down below as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. These lights don't pay themselves, so this helps with the show. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's continue, though.
Bring in Mark Garagos now. He's a trial attorney and the co-host of the Reasonable Doubt podcast with Adam Carolla. Garagos, something is rotten in Denmark here on so many levels. First of all, the cops are handing, Brian's card back to him, right? The sheriff's department, after they have miserably messed up from the get-go, right? Plus, they end up on the wedding, roster as the chaplain and the witness, and then the witness's son is the first of, on-site visit. He's a member of the sheriff's department, and then, there's this landlord who has a criminal background as well, renting to a sex offender with 3, teenage kids. I don't know what recourse anybody has here, but I want to know why the feds aren't involved, or if they are, would it be quiet?
No, it wouldn't be quiet, at least initially. But I'll tell you, for anybody who ever wants to slam lawyers, let me tell you something. What will happen here? I'll make a bold prediction. There will be a plaintiff's lawyer that gets involved in this case and uncovers exactly what's going on, because your reporting, by the way, has put out so many data points that you could explore or go after that it would be a field day. I mean, the idea that this guy has this property to begin with, the idea that he's calling his mother, the mother is not doing anything or alerting authorities, the fact that there are inexplicably, as you just mentioned, all of these phones, which the first thing you would do is try to preserve or get the records connected with those cell phones. And I'll bet you're going to find some other interesting information there. So some very intrepid civil plaintiff's lawyer is going to unravel this thing, because it's clear that law enforcement's not going to do it.
Yep.
We also know it's so hard to sue the government, right? But you have a prison system that let a sex offender out early after 85% of his sentence on what they called the credit system. He built up credits. Why don't those credits
Ridiculous.
go away if you're, accused of committing crimes behind bars, which he was? And why did it take 6 years to adjudicate those crimes? It seems to me all of this would never have happened if somebody had had their eye on that ball.
Well, you bring up a very good point. I've got a case in California right now where my client's son was killed while in custody, and it appears that it was not kosher, if you will, that it was not the cellmate that it may have been. There may have been involvement by the authorities. What ends up happening is once you put people in prison, there's a very, very nefarious kind of network that takes place in prison. We've seen it. You've covered a story. I did a story with you within the last year about some of these prison escapades that go on, and the idea that things get smuggled into prison, the idea that people have kind of alternative lifestyles while in prison, which is clearly what happened here. All of that is gonna come to the fore. You're gonna see that unwound or kind of revealed in the coming weeks. I'll give you some kudos, thanks to your investigation and Brian's investigation.
Well, let's hope. I mean, these families deserve justice. And if, they hadn't been getting the investigation done themselves and then screaming from the mountaintop, I don't know that anybody would have cared. So, Mark Garagos, thank you for your wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Pepper just said something here, and thank you so much for the comment. Garagos, I guess, is right. It will take a plaintiff's attorney to get to the bottom of this. One of the family's attorneys is working with Martha Justice, who's a very experienced investigator. Yes, we did hear about Martha Justice through Cameron Spradling. They are doing their due diligence. They're diving into this like crazy, and so I won't be surprised if they find more information, or if more things get unearthed, as we are seeing in this with that tweet that I just showed you guys a little bit ago, which I'll show you guys again here. I mean, they're even finding they're unearthing things. They're doing a deep dive. They said we've found some inaccurate information in newly filed court records written by law enforcement. How could law enforcement muck up their own court records? How can they do that? How can they put out information that is not true? Okay. Like I said, I got questions, guys. All right. So I'm sure that the private investigators that are involved in this, and I'm hoping that they have more than just one. I'm hoping that the families are doing everything they can to have their own separate private investigators, because if they have more hands on this case, more boots on the ground all together, that could really change things. That could really make things different in finding more truth, right? In finding more truth of what the hell's going on here. And again, we see here that things are starting to come out. As we already saw with the divorce papers, shoot, the wedding records, the wedding certificate tells a story. And I've already said this too. That house is most definitely screaming stories. Not only just that of the 5 kids that lost their lives. I'm talking about other people that walked in and out of that house, walked in that house and maybe did not walk out of that house alive. That house is screaming. That property is probably screaming with hundreds, if not thousands, of stories that need to be heard, that need to be unearthed. And you know, I just said that, and that is pun intended. Again, the more information that comes out, the more we're starting to realize how crazy this stuff is and how real disgusting that Henrietta, Oklahoma, could potentially be. It's disturbing. Again, I'm looking at it and going, is Henrietta, Oklahoma, the Mecca for all registered such and suches? That's the thing I really want to know. And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I said it earlier. This could be a situation where there are people who are literally hiding in plain sight. And for those of y'all who do reside in Henrietta, that live a normal, good, clean life, law-abiding life, you could be served by these people at restaurants. They could be teaching your kids at your schools. They could be even pulling you over on the streets right now. They could be representing you in court. They can also be the ones judging you in court as well. Healing you while you're sick. There's so many different things. Think about that, guys. And I agree, Carolera. They need to go and look at that pond. And if they haven't done that yet, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know. But yeah, this is a crazy, crazy story. It is heartbreaking, and we are learning more and more as we get closer and closer. We're getting closer to the truth, guys. And I could feel it in my bones. This is the reason why I did this show this morning with you guys before this big show that I have coming up in less than an hour with you guys about Bryan Kohberger, because I feel in my bones that we are finally getting closer to the core of what really was going down in that house. We are seeing that there are some real messed up, sinister things going on within law enforcement and all that, all the powers that be. We are finally getting closer to the truth, and I am here for it, y'all. I am here for it. Misty Fisher, thank you so much for the 10. I hope that this case causes all these folks involved in this cover-up to get charged and made an example of. This type of crap gets dealt with in other small towns. I'm hoping that this does inspire, okay? Not only just, hey, look at what happened, right? Not only just like, hey, look what went down, and oh my gosh, gasp in awe and clutch our kids going, thank God it didn't happen to my baby, okay? I'm hoping that this inspires all of us in all of our towns to really look at who we're electing, who is running our towns, who is pulling us over, all those things. I'm not sitting here saying that everybody is out here being bad, but I'm just saying we need to be more aware of our surroundings and the people that we allow to have our kids watch them, okay? We need to be more vigilant. And I'm not saying we need to be paranoid. We just need to do those things that I think we don't look at because we're scared of coming off like we're overprotective or crazy. And I'm telling you right now, I'd rather look crazy and have my child be protected than be the cool guy and have my child go through one of the worst things, the most unthinkable things to ever happen to any child. I will say that. I'd rather be overcautious than not cautious at all. So we just got to be a little bit more aware of what the hell is going on, guys. We do. We do. And oh, you know what? I'm going to say this too, real quick before we wrap up, because this really angers me too. This really grinds my gears. If you have somebody or anybody you know that is calling, saying that they're going to do the unthinkable to themselves, please, oh God, please talk to them. Call a professional. Call the hotline. Call the cops. Whatever it may be. By not speaking about it, you are a part of the problem. When we hear about this mama getting the phone call where he's allegedly being in this mindset, I'm assuming very frantic, saying that he's going to do something unthinkable to himself, it's the last thing you want to do, right? It's the last thing that you want to be hearing on the receiving end of that phone call. But you get active. You do whatever it takes to make sure that that person stays on this planet. The fact that she got a phone call and nothing happened, and then the very next day we saw this tragedy, is beyond me. It shows that there's no care. And I don't mean to go after her like that. I don't know this person from a can of paint. But at the same time, if you got someone who was allegedly calling you the day before he did this heinous crime and you did nothing, you have a lot of explaining to do. You just do. S-Dubs, thank you so much for the 5. Is one of the reasons law enforcement did nothing because the perp, so case off. That's literally what they're saying. That's literally what they're saying. Oh, it's done. He gone. So the man with all the stories, the man with all the information, he gone. So there's nothing we can do about it. Nah, there's more information in here. And why would you be so quick to just throw in the towel and say, well, job is done, dust ourselves off. Let's go. Let's, crack open a Busch Light. F that. I'm not cool with that. I don't stand for that because the story ain't done. The story ain't over. And we all just saw that proof positive. We're all starting to see that now. Even with this tweet, we're even seeing more stuff coming out, more mess ups, more information. The truth is slowly but surely getting exposed. And when it does get exposed, trust and believe, I'll be right here talking about it with all y'all. A Rare Zebra, thank you so much for the 5. Thank you for your coverage. I hope the inaccuracies they find leads to the shutdown of of a network. Okay, I get what you're saying though, Rare. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, I do appreciate it. But that is the show. I'm praying for some new developing information. And of course, I've been, corresponding with Kaylee quite a bit. Hopefully we find out some more information here from boots on the ground. The reporters are out there getting the information. Hopefully we hear something within the next few hours. And when we do, I will talk about it. I promise you that. Do me a favor while you guys are waiting for me to start the show at 1. Okay, because I like I said, in less than 50 minutes, 50 minutes, I'm back on with Andrea Burkhart to talk about the new developments surrounding Bryan Kohberger. Apparently, he has been indicted by a secret grand jury. What the F does that mean? We're going to talk about that in great detail. Got our good friend, Andrea Burkhart, lawyer, attorney, extraordinaire, to come and break this down, to explain this all to us so we understand what the hell is going on. So be sure to tune in at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. But in the meantime, I do have a new video that I just dropped late last night about some new developing questionable things that have been surrounding Shanquella Robinson's case. Please go check that out. It's literally like 11, 12 minutes long. Take the time to take a look at it, because that woman still deserves justice, and she still hasn't gotten it, and there may be a cover-up. So please go check that out. All right, guys, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Anyway, and also please go check out PascalMerch.com. We got 50% off on all jogging suits and all that. We got some really great merch. Please go check it out. That would really, really mean a lot. All right, please go and check that out. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. I will see you guys in about 45 minutes. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in less than an hour. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.